You got a guy comes in and he says to you, hey, I got to do the whole floor. It's $5,000. Yes, that's what they're going to tell you because they want to do the whole floor. I don't really know whether or not that's the case. So the problem I have is you moved after she approved it. But the bottom line here is there are problems with both of your sides. That's where I'm at with this. Thank you. Are we ready, everybody?
Yes, I'm ready.
We're going to excuse the parties while we deliberate in this matter. Thank you.
This courtroom is now in recess.
Well, there are two issues. One, of course, is liability, and the other is the damages. I don't think the liability issue is complicated at all. I think it's clear that after the closing, yes, the defendant conducted the moving and that his movers were responsible for scratching up the floors. They weren't that way when previous to the movers coming in. The question becomes whether or not plaintiff's request for $5,000 is justified given the damages in this case. Now, I've noticed she submitted an estimate, and there is a rather detailed description of the areas that had to be addressed in terms of the scratches. And he lists the living room, the dining room, and the hallway. Although they may not be clearly represented by the photographs, I do think it is credible to believe, given the photographs that I saw and the testimony, that 3 rooms were impacted by the negligence of the defendant's moving company. The defendant offers really no counter evidence with respect to the damages that were caused. I think she's entitled to $5,000.
I agree with you with the liability. In particular, I agree with it because he admits that he had the movers come after, and the movers admit to at least some responsibility. However, I'm very hung up on the actual damages. I think that the photographs we see are not reflective of the true damages because she blew up things and made it look like they're this huge damage when in fact it's very small if you look at the photograph. But assuming that I buy that things had to be done, if we look at this Cal Coast flooring, she's having the floor leveled, which is 5 1/4. She doesn't need to have the subfloors leveled. She's got sanding and filling in spots, reducers, they're moving furniture, plastic barriers. There's a number of other things here that are above and beyond somebody coming in, sanding the floors and refinishing them.
I agree.
So thank you.
Yeah.
So I have a real problem with no dimensions on the floors. We don't know anything. So I could be comfortable giving her something, like $1,000, but nothing near where she's asking.
I don't agree with you. First of all, I don't think that she tried to misrepresent the extent of the damages. You find the floors as you find them. And if a particular area of the floor was no longer level, but there was a scratch on it, they still have to repair it. I'm not going to second guess the estimate without some kind of response by the defendant that this is exaggerated.
The other thing is there's a lot of normal wear and tear. Chairs moving around, you know. I see it in the pictures. Just where that stool was, the whole floor is worn there. I think she's coming in here for a free floor, basically, not intentionally. I think she would have done the floors anyway.
And just on that point, I'm looking at the damage, and I'm not suggesting that she's being dishonest, but it's not $5,000 worth of damage. I mean, some of these are little scratches that you can sand down. I think that she has submitted invoices that would give her brand new floors, and I think it's excessive. I don't really know how to reasonably come up with a value.
I'm up at 1,000. I don't really see myself going beyond 1,000,
I wouldn't consider 1,000.
My only thing
She's gotten 2 estimates. Both are
for brand new floors in the whole house.
If the floors were scratched and if it covered 3 rooms, it means 3 different floors.
But the pictures show 2 little scratches.
We don't know otherwise.
Exactly, it's her
We're
burden.
we're assuming. There's nothing in the evidence that she's misrepresenting the damages, that they're overblown.
Respectfully, for a 12-year-old floor, I think they're overblown. What about 2,000?
I would do 2.
Can we do 2?
Even though I don't want to, but I would do 2.
So the 2 of you say $2,000,
$2,000.
and as far as I'm concerned, I think she should have gotten the entire amount that she submitted, which is $4,000 and change. So I dissent.